Sheldon, right off the bat, let's address the latest newspaper reports about you and what you feel about that. Then we'll talk about your platform and what you want to do if you get elected.
Oh, absolutely, Dave. The allegations against me are completely false. They're categorically false, and it's really sad. You know, they happen 2 weeks right before the election day, and I do not condone violence. And just to give you an idea, these are my hands. Part of the allegations are that I put my hands through walls, and if I put my hands through walls, they would not look like this. I won't get into it because it is a court matter, it's a legal matter, and I shouldn't talk about it.
When are you back in court?
What's that?
When do you go back to court?
November 8th is the next court date, and I've got good witnesses, and I've got good questions for the evidence that's going to be presented, and my hope is to get this dropped and to defend myself in court. So.
Well, let's talk about your campaign. You were elected once as deputy mayor. You ran last election as a mayoral candidate. You're running as councillor again. So what are your plans?
So for my campaign this go around, housing is my first priority. My second priority is clean and safe streets. Third is economic development, and fourth is source water protection. I believe I'm the only candidate here who's pledging to look at our water treatment plant within 30 days of being elected. I want to go in there, check it out, make sure everything looks good. I want to talk to the staff, see if there's anything urgent that needs to be addressed. When it comes to clean and safe streets, I really do believe in a housing first approach for tackling homelessness and the drug and addictions issues. Speaking to some of these people, it's really hard for them to move on with their life when they don't have stable, secure shelter. A lot of the times their things get stolen and they have to start over again, or they're at a shelter and then they have to leave in the morning, and it's constantly interrupting any chance they have at recovering and getting back on track with their life. The city needs housing right now. If you look at housing prices and rents, it's through the roof. I believe there's at least over 1,000 people on the affordable rent to geared income housing list. So there's things we have to do, but something else that's unique about me when it comes to housing is I want to create our own set of bylaws and zoning for what's called tiny homes or tiny housing. So it basically right now there's not really a whole lot, even provincially, as far as laws go when it comes to tiny housing, and I want to try and draft something and meet with our member of provincial parliament to work on a provincial law for tiny homes.
Last question, I guess. What's different this election other than other stuff? What do you feel about these 29 candidates and the momentum that's been generated with this election campaign?
Yeah, so it's there's 29 council candidates this time around, and I mean everyone's got their own neck of the woods that they've been crawling out of and building support, and it's good. It's good to have many candidates. It's good for the people of North Bay to have a choice on who they want to represent them at City Hall, and to do the good work that North Bay wants to see done. So it's good.
I thought of actually another question, if you don't mind. There's been some talk that they could change the rules so that the top vote getter doesn't have that choice about being budget chief, that it's a council decision. I think one mayoral candidate wants to be able to pick everybody. What do you think about those? Because you were elected to deputy mayor your first time, and it was quite a learning curve for you to be budget chief. So you have some experience here.
Yeah, it's. I went through the same thing in 2014. People wanted to have me not be budget chief and not deputy mayor. They wanted to be able to pick who they wanted that role to suit, and all I have to say to it, back then when I was going through it, is the people in North Bay voted, and they chose who they wanted to finish in their top 3 spots. The top 3 spots get to choose which chair they're going to chair, whether it's the budget, whether it's community services, whether it's public works. It's been like that for, longer than I could ever remember. And just because it's been like that forever doesn't mean it can't change. I do think there's merit to picking the right people for those chairs, people with the right knowledge sets. I think that it's a good thing, but at the same time too, the people, when we're running at large and the people vote, they pick their top 3 people, and that's got to come out somehow too. So it's a tricky one, and then there's the whole question of a ward system. Should we have a ward system in North Bay? Personally, to be honest, I'm disappointed it's not a ballot question this time around.
I know a columnist has suggested it should be on as a ballot question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if we're going to change our whole voting system, I think the people in North Bay should be able to decide if they want a ward system or not. They should be able to vote on that. So, as far as my own personal opinion, I do think that personally it would be beneficial. My personal opinion is that it would be beneficial to have a ward system, because then there's a lot more responsibility towards the person representing the ward, the councillor representing that area of North Bay. Right now, you have everyone running at large. They're all running like they're mayors, so their signs are all over the city instead of just their district or area. They got to be able to talk about all facets of the city. Which is a good thing too. Like, it's good that everyone is on council is going to think of the city as a whole and vote on issues as a whole, and not just have these little ward battles that happen in ward systems. But it's really hard to hold your representative accountable when they're supposed to represent a whole city, and who's taking care of my neighborhood, my district, if you get the drift. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the people in North Bay would vote on a ballot question for a ward system.
Do you regret being the budget chief your first term, choosing to?
That's a good question. I don't regret it. I learned so much going through that. I met with our CFO like every day, and I learned all kinds of corporate finance that I don't think I would have learned anywhere else. It was a good experience, and if you recall, during my 4 years as budget chief, we had the lowest tax increases in I want to say a long time. Our average was 1.67 throughout the 4-year term that I was on, and it's not just my fault that it was low. It was everyone's fault around the table, and city staff. Everyone was responsible for making sure the budget increase was a low number and it was palatable to the citizens of North Bay. So, but I allowed for that to happen, and I worked with people to make that happen. And
Did you say it wasn't your fault?
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good, interesting point you made there.
And during my term as budget chief too, we had surpluses every year.
Yeah.
And
so you had the lowest tax increases and the most surpluses. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And it's not my fault.